everybody out there in podcast land. This is episode 185 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is October 2nd, 2024. My guest is Dena in Illinois, who was last on the podcast in August of 2022. Couple of announcements. First of all, I just want to say that my heart goes out to all of those affected by Hurricane Helene. Here in Greenville, South Carolina, 500,000 people still don't have power, and they're looking at Friday the 4th to hopefully have everybody back on. And of course, Western Carolina is just completely devastated. You've probably seen the news footage, and it is just heartbreaking. Asheville is just an hour and a half from me, and it's such a beautiful place where lots of South Carolina people and people from other states go for beautiful weekend getaways all times of year, especially in the fall. So that's just not going to happen this year, and it's just going to hurt their economy so bad, in addition to all the physical destruction. So it's just so heartbreaking. I'm thinking about all the folks in that area. I don't even know how they start cleaning up and rebuilding. It's just got to be so overwhelming. So I'm just keeping all of you in my prayers. Okay, the next announcement is a quick update on the premium library. I try to give you these updates once a quarter so you'll know what's been added. So going back to July, I added another installment of the online auctions course, Buying for Resale. So I know more and more of you are getting into this because it's available and you can do your shopping at home and either go pick up or have things mailed to you. So that is there, a Q&A episode for July, a tutorial on a jewelry brand. Then we have another installment of the bra course, a brand I recently learned about and wanted to share with you. A things to sell item that is like, what is this and what does it do? So you can see what that is and see if you know it. A brand spotlight for an actual Target brand that I had no idea was so highly sought after. And a keyword lesson. And then another installment of the jewelry course, and another installment of the online auctions course, and another vintage jewelry tutorial. So kind of heavy on the jewelry there because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm working through jewelry, so I'm sharing what I'm learning. So there's also another Q&A for September. So 2 to 3 hours of new material added over the last quarter, and you can check that out if you are not a premium member. The link is below the podcast. So now let's get into the chat with Dena.
Hello, listeners. I have yet another repeat offender this week. We have Dena, who was on the podcast, I don't even know, probably 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. And so let's recap where you are.
I am in a suburb of Chicago. So I'm in Huntley, Illinois, which is northwest. It's about an hour northwest of Chicago.
Yeah, and I had on my list to meet up with you when I was in the Midwest. And
yes, I thought we could meet halfway.
Yeah, I was trying to put something together because I know Allie House is in the suburbs of Chicago. Of course, George Kelly. There were many people in that area where we could have done, a halfway meetup thing. And I was really looking forward to that. So maybe someday.
Well, someday, never say never.
Yeah. I kind of ran away.
It's okay. It's okay. You're fine. Eleanor, I
Yeah.
didn't work for you. I get it.
Yeah. But we're virtual friends, so that
That's right.
works too. Okay,
That's right.
so let's catch everybody up on how and when you got involved in eBay, because if I remember correctly, your family was in the antique business. So
Yeah.
you kind of had a little head start.
Well, my mom was an antique dealer in the 80s and 90s, and she used to go to the county steps and buy the estates when you had a number, and they would auction off houses because she was a real estate agent as well. So what she would do is buy the houses, they would sell all the contents in it, and then they would sell the house. So she was a smart little cookie. And she had a little
Yes.
shop in Schiller Park, Illinois, in a basement in a building that they owned. And every month she would have, like a weekend garage sale or a little estate sale. And, she enjoyed that. And then she slowed down a little bit, but she always did a little antiquing and thrifting. She loved to go to little thrift stores and stuff. And she passed away 6 years ago. And we had all her stuff. She had a little townhouse, but it was packed to the gills. Now, she did label stuff. So she had stuff in bins all in her basement. She had what was in the bins and stuff like that. So we had to sell her townhouse, and thank God my ex-husband is a manager for 1-800 Pack Rat. So he brought those like storage pods. And so we have 8 of those. And we loaded it up. And when, in February of 2020, my kids were like selling stuff on eBay, and I did not know this. And I'm like, well, maybe I could sell some of Grandma's stuff on eBay. So we started from there, and that was it. Rolled right into it.
So how many pods do you have left now, 6 years later? Or do you want to take the 5th on that and decline to answer?
Oh my God. I think I have 6 left, but that I only have, I think, 3 pods full of antiques and collectibles, and vintage stuff to sell. The rest is my other business, which, since we talked in the last 2 years, I kind of trying to make my way to retirement a little bit and streamline my other business so then me and my husband can do this full time in the near future. So we ended up, I have a custom apparel and promotional company, and we've been doing that for 24 years, and I love it, but it's a lot of work, and we had all the big machines and stuff like that. So we ended up moving our machines with a friend and closed the big office. And I work out of my house, and I love it. My brother works out of his house, and we're a lot more efficient. And we ended up cutting down a lot of our clients and not doing any of the school spirit wears and all that. That took a lot of hands-on work.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves a little more time for eBay, a lot more time for eBay. So those are in the pack rats, but I don't know what to do with it. I'll figure it out. Some of the stuff I could sell. I was seeing that, I had all the fancy phone units. I'm like, those sell for good money. I didn't realize it. Like the business phone lines and stuff like the phone. So one day over the winter when I'm bored, I'll have to go back over there and pull some stuff out and start cleaning and organizing.
Well, have you found any more dice?
I did not find any more. Wasn't amazing?
Oh my gosh, I got to tell that story real quick because at one point I looked it up on my YouTube. It's the cover of it is your dice the Bakelite dice, and you found them in something, and then you sold them for around $100. Right. And I'm just a visual learner, and I just remember stuff like that. Like, wait, who sold these dice? Because I was shopping on an online auction, and it was this box of all this random stuff, and there's those black, what I thought were Bakelite dice. And I'm like, wait, I know about this. So I bid on that box. It was $6. I got it for $6, and it was a local pickup.
Deal.
And I get them home and I test them, and yes, they are Bakelite. And then I start looking them up, and people have in their listings, they're black, but when you hold them up to the light, they're cherry red.
Cherry red.
Those were a special thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't even advertised. Like if I had gone on the auction site and searched for dice, it wouldn't have come up because they didn't have it in the title.
Right.
So, yeah, I put them on auction, and prices were all over the place depending on how big they are. And these were pretty chunky. They were at least an inch.
And it
So,
depends too if they're chipped on the ends or
yeah.
anywhere. And that's okay if they do still list them. People
Yeah.
collect them. They want them. You know,
Yeah,
and then
so
whatever you feel comfortable with.
I put them on auction. I think I started them at 50 and they sold for $162. And they
Wow.
went to either France or Germany. And
I think mine went overseas too.
yeah, the person received them and they were just thrilled. They were so happy. So that's the magic of the Facebook group and people sharing their sales, because I would not have known about that without you. My head is not in that game piece space, but Bakelite, what's made of Bakelite? People want it. So
people want even like those Mahjong sets that are Bakelite.
The Mahjong, yes.
They sell for big money if you could find them.
And you can sell just the tiles. You don't need the racks.
Right.
Or the racks are chipped or broken, or you can sell just the tiles.
Right.
And those will sell for over $100. Depends on like if they're butterscotch, which is like the more yellowish one, they're supposed to look like that, or if they're all there or just some of them. But yeah, people buy just those tiles, and it's like a whole new world of and then like backgammon sets can be made, the Bakelite pieces, and chess sets and checkers.
Anything with Bakelite. I mean, I think on Amazon bought some of that cream that you could test the Bakelite with.
Yes, it's called semi-chrome or something like that. Yes. And you can rub it on.
I'm Googling, how to look up things, and I'm, doing the smell test. Like my kid, does this smell like this? He's like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
we're running it under hot water will make the smell come out. Like if it's something you put underwater, but like the handle of a brush or whatever, and it will totally smell like formaldehyde, like in high school science lab where you're dissecting stuff. It smells just yeah.
Oh God. So anything Bakelite is good to at least look up. Anything is good to look up.
Yeah. So I will give credit where credit is due.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for sharing that sale. And that goes out to everybody. Thank you for sharing your sales, no matter how insignificant you think it is. Other people are learning. And there's a lot of people in that group that never say a word. They don't they just, they didn't like click the like button or anything. They just watch and learn. So you don't know how many people you're reaching. So using social media to our advantage, not in an addictive way.
Right. Because it can be addictive. I mean, I do designate, some time to every week looking at those money makers and getting visuals of each item. So, I might not catch the title, but if I'm out and about and I see that, it will trigger something and say, wait, let me look this up really fast. Or I think I saw that before. So it's really important to share anything, because some people don't mind selling things for $10 or $15 or $25. Bread and butter, kind of stabilizes your store. So share those BOLOs. Those are fine. If you can find them for 50 cents or $1 at a garage sale, I don't mind selling something for $15. If I bought it for 50 cents.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your sales and your store. How many things do you have listed at this point?
Right now I have 575.
Good.
So yeah, it is good. I would like to I was trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year, but there's no way that will happen.
Well, what keeps happening to me as I restart my store is I have a goal, every day to list 3 new items. Now that doesn't sound like very much, but I do a lot of other things too. So, and I'm reworking what I'm listing. So it's higher dollar stuff, but I'll list 3 things and one will sell immediately. So it's like the monkey climbing out of the well. Like you get a view and then you flip, which is fine. I'm glad to have sales, but I wonder if it's because eBay thinks the algorithm thinks I'm new or something. But I mean, my account was opened in 2003.
Right.
Or maybe it's because I'm listing different kinds of things that I've never listed before.
Maybe, it's hard to tell. There's all these people with, you got to do this to get this or this. I think consistency in listing every day is the key to a successful eBay store.
Well, and I can't do this without doing some math. So like if I list 3 items a day,
right,
each will sell for $30. And every day do that for a month, that's $900 worth of sellable stuff. And that's not a huge number. Most people have, 10, a goal of 10 a day. But they're not making videos and podcasts and interviewing people and doing all that stuff.
right.
But nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, I have to do a goal that's achievable because if I say I want to do 20 new items a day, like I'll never do that.
No.
I'll never
I
make
don't
it.
even think I ever listed 20 items in a day.
Yeah. So who knows what the algorithm does? There's no way to prove any of it. It's all what somebody might have heard someone else say, or like the telephone game. Like,
Yeah.
it all gets garbled by the last person. So
It depends what you sell too, and that goes back to, if you're selling something that has a high sell-through rate, then it's going to sell faster. If you're selling stuff that, there's 100 listed and 50 sold, it might take a while to sell.
Yeah. And somebody on this podcast a long time ago when it first started said something very prophetic. Sell things that people want.
Right.
So like I was listing things last night and I'm getting into belt buckles, and this one, it was like an old cigarette brand and only 4 had sold in the last 2 years and there were 130 of them listed. So I'm like, yeah, that's going in the donate pile. I'm not going to compete with that. I want stuff that has, 5 listings,
right.
so that you don't have all that competition. And I think a lot of people don't look at the actives to see, well, how many are out there? Who am I competing against? What are my chances of getting a sale on this? Even if you use promoted listings, because some people don't, but it does put you at the top of search or closer to the top. So anyway, that's just a research tip, look at what's active too.
It is. Well, look at how people title their actives. So last night I was listing these Mikasa like glass leaf pattern luncheon plates. They were called the Vermont pattern. I found someone that had the original label on it so I could, okay, that's the pattern. But someone spelled something wrong in the listing title, and everyone that had this listed copied that title.
Oh, that's the AI. I don't like the AI.
No, I have never done the AI. So I now have the only listing without selling. So hopefully it will sell.
Yeah, I think AI gets way too much credit. There's a human element that you cannot replace with technology. I mean, sure, try it. See what it says. See what it puts in your listing. But sometimes it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to search for that.
And it's a lot of fluff.
Yes.
And people want to know, what it is, who made it, the condition of it, the size of it, and then you could wish them have a nice day.
Right? Yeah.
Questions and have a nice day and call it a day.
Yeah.
And I learned that over the last year. My stuff in my details was way too much, and it was sucking up a lot of my time. And I like to write about a product because I'm a history major, so I like to people know where it came from and who.
Yeah.
But I noticed I have to shorten that down a little bit, and I have. But people don't want to read all that. You'll lose them, and they'll go to something else.
That's exactly what I was going to say is think of yourself as a buyer. Are you going to read through all that? No, you want to buy thingamajig and just give me the facts. Give me some pictures. And really people focus on the pictures anyway, because I get questions all the time of stuff that is in the description. Like they just didn't go to it and read it. And, you answer politely and you just know that they're just skimming and they're not looking at the wording. So are you wasting your time doing all that anyway? And if it's more than a couple, 3 sentences or bullet points, I just don't think people read it.
So I've been playing around with listings and I've been doing some with bullet points. And I've been seeing those have been selling faster.
Yeah. I've been a bullet pointer since a long time ago, just because I do the listing the way I would want to look at it as a buyer. Like, I just want to know the name of it, if there's any defects or problems, measurements. I put measurements on everything.
I put them in the pictures now too.
Yes.
With any clothing, because I've noticed no one's reading the description. So
yeah, and I like that. Sometimes people use like 2 measuring tapes or 2 yardsticks, right? So you can see everything in one picture. You don't have to take a whole bunch of different pictures of measurements. And yeah, I do like that. But I just think AI is like the hot thing right now. And yes, eBay, we get it. You're trying to make this easier and faster for sellers, because the more listings we sell, the more money they make. So they're trying to make it easy, but you can't ignore the human element of, what some new word for something that Catherine and I talked about in the podcast.
Oh my God. I had spinning when I was listening to that yesterday.
I know, like, are you really going to put tomato core on every red sweater you sell? No, but is AI going to stick that in there? Or, some trend pops up on TikTok, and is AI going to know that? Yeah.
They're not going to know that. It's weird. I just think basic description, make sure your best keywords are in the 5, in the beginning of your title, and roll with it. Make sure you take good pictures. There were some pictures I was looking at the last couple of weeks. What are you doing? What is that? You know what I mean? It was like, you could always tell about a seller about the pride they take in their pictures. Now, they don't have to be perfect.
Right.
But make them like you want someone to buy your item.
Well, and they've got the background removal tool integrated.
It's easy to use.
Photo, the photo upload on eBay, you can do that. The worst photo I ever saw was for some piece of clothing that was on somebody's rumpled bed. And in the background was their dog doing his business.
Oh,
I'm like, are you not looking at the details?
Oh my God.
I don't want anything coming out of that house.
It's like you're so, it is, I'm kind of can be loud sometimes. I would like to send that person a message. Did you check your picture?
I know. I had to restrain myself and not message them and be like, hey, you might want to try a little different photo setup there.
Oh, gross. Oh my God.
Anyway, well, let's talk about some of your sales, because you are an active poster on the group and you always have interesting things.
I try, I'm a lover of glass, and I'm a lover of cocktail glasses and MCM glasses and satin and all, I love glass. I love pottery. I love all that. It's not selling anymore, so, I think when we were in COVID, I used to get a lot of messages when people would buy barware and they would say, because I can't leave the house, I'm going to drink out of my, every day out of these fancy glasses. And I'm like, awesome. But, starting last year, that stuff wasn't selling anymore. Kitchen items weren't selling as well anymore. The stuff that I kind of liked and specialized in. So I've been reaching out and doing different things.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. What are the different things?
Well, I still been selling jewelry. I've been finding a lot of jewelry at garage sales. I was really scared to go to garage sales by myself. And this year, one of my goals was, okay, no one is around to go to a garage sale with me on a Thursday or a Friday. So I have to put my big girl's pants on and I have to go by myself.
You're a powerful Italian woman. What are you talking about? You were afraid.
You don't know sometimes the creepy people you're going to meet. And there's all the creepy people.
I know. Yeah.
And I get kind of embarrassed sometimes if I like want to check a price of something and pull out my phone, because sometimes these people stare at you. And sometimes you walk up in a garage sale and the whole family's sitting there. Like it's like a family gathering at a garage sale. And they're all staring at you.
It's like you're in front of the parole board,
That's
like,
what you feel like.
Looking at you.
Yeah, I need your stuff, thanks. And they just watch you. So that was one of my goals, and I was successful in doing that. So I've been picking up some jewelry whenever I see it, and a lot of jewelry is still selling, which I like. I've been selling, trying to pick up purses. I've been trying. The one change I made though is I started picking up clothes, and I hated clothes. Because that's my other job is clothes. I decorate clothes, and all I do is, buy clothes for them and get them decorated. So when my last fall, my husband got temporary laid off from his job. They just didn't have any work. Like, what am I going to do? I'm like, you gotta sell on eBay. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, join me. Come over to the dark side. Yeah.
You gotta have some inventory, and we have a lot of stuff. So started listing. So he was listing all the tchotchkes and all that kind of stuff. And then he's like, I kind of like clothes. I'm like, how can you like clothes? That's all we do. He goes, I think we should buy some clothes. Let's go to this new Goodwill bins that opened up. So we went to the Goodwill bin, and it was crazy. It was scary at first. How they parade the new bins out and everyone follows it. It's like odd. And then I didn't understand it was like a Wednesday at noon and there were all these high school kids in there. I'm like, why are you not in school? What are you doing? Why are you here? So it was interesting. But, I picked up some couple things from there. I picked up some bathing suits new with tags.
Great.
And since, it's $1.59 a pound or whatever it is, I said, well, I'll try to list some of this stuff. Well, all this stuff started selling. I'm like, well, maybe I could do this clothes thing. So I've been picking up a lot of clothes lately, and from garage sales. So that has been good. One of my more fun sales from a garage sale for clothes was that there was one with all these kids' clothes, and it was like 95 degrees outside. And my air conditioning was broken in my car. So I'm rolling around the neighborhood sweaty, 95 degrees, looking for garage sales. I'm like, oh my God. And I see this garage sale without toys. And I'm like, they do have a rack of clothes. So I go check, and they had some, mismatched Barbie stuff and just little toys that I don't know so much about. And I'm getting ready to leave, and I look over the pile of clothes, and there's a pair of jeans sitting on the top of the pile. And I pick it up, and it says 7 for mankind, all mankind. I'm like, I know this brand. Mm-hmm. And before I started to dive into clothing, there's so much clothing out there. You got to know what sells. You got to look at sell-through rates. I did a lot of YouTube searching of, people that sell clothing and what sells for them. And we made lists, and we put them in our pockets so we know what to look for when we're out and about. So I asked this lady, I'm like, how much do you want for this pair of 7 for mankind jeans? She goes, $1. I'm like, okay. And I go in my car, and they say Dojo on it. I'm like, I think this is a good brand. It's a high sell-through rate, the Dojo jeans for 7 for mankind.
Okay.
So,
So it's like a style of
it's a style. So,
okay.
I noticed with clothing is that every brand has a style that sells better than, you know, than another thing in their collection. So I listed those for $50 and they sold within 24 hours. So from
Excellent.
$1 to $50, I thought that was pretty cool.
So do you now have like 87 pairs of jeans for sale?
I have 100 and
Really?
jeans now. My name is Dena, and I'm a jeans.
That's so funny.
So I ended up liking jeans. So yeah, I pick up jeans wherever I go. Being a little smart about it because I noticed like the Goodwills have really raised their prices a lot on clothing, and jeans are now like $7.95 or $9.95, and so now you got to think about where can I get them less expensive. I could
Wait
go
a
to
minute. What year were you born?
73.
So you're not up for the senior discount yet.
I do have Grace, so she goes, I will give you the senior discount. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, that's what you got to do is like look old, no makeup,
I do.
put your
I
little
don't wear
readers
any
on down on
makeup.
your nose and just take it. I did that too. But I asked that because for Goodwill, they have the senior day, which you already figured out. And the whole thing with the new color every week, and then starting, it's different every state, but they have dollar stuff.
Yes, one Goodwill by us every Sunday. A tag is $1, but there's so many people in there, and I kind of have anxiety when I get around a lot of people. So that's hard. I did go a couple times, and it's fine. I just think that that these days with some of the thrift shops marking their stuff up a little bit more, that you got to be smart about your sourcing.
Absolutely.
Because you want to. I realized when I looked at my numbers in 2023 is that I had to bring my buy cost down.
Yes.
I was buying too. I was
making
buying
money when you buy. Exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I implemented, I'm going to go to the garage sales if it's going to kill me. And I'm going to go to the Goodwill bins. I even went to the Goodwill bins by myself twice.
Excellent. Gold star for that.
Yes. And there's one guy there that buys all the jeans. And he has 3 carts filled of jeans. I don't think he cares what kind of jeans there are.
Yeah. They were cheap enough to just get them all.
They're just getting them all. And I get that, but I did block them out of one bin. And I got all the jeans. That made me happy. I've been going to some estate sales too. I love estate sales, but the estate sales around me have been so high, like ridiculous high. Where they want $15 for a pair of jeans, $20 for a sweater. I'm like, even if you go the last day, you can't even. They don't even want to deal with you. So I've been doing that. I did go to one estate sale on my way to the antique shop, and I still have a booth at the antique mall, and I saw a estate sale there, and I cruised by, and this guy was running around outside. He goes, "You got to come in, ma'am. You got to buy this stuff. My mom passed away. I need to get rid of it now." I'm like, "Okay, I'll come in and make a little pile." So I made a big pile, and it was clothes, it was glassware, it was pottery. But the best find was an old Coach purse that was upstairs. I think it must have been his mom's, but it was beat up. It was from the 80s. It was, which one was it? I forgot the name of it, but it was from the 80s. And, I made this big pile. I had over 100 items in this pile, from smalls to clothes, to everything. And the guy's like, $40. Like, he goes, "But you got that Coach purse." I'm like, "It's so dirty, it's not even going to sell for anything." But I went home and I took that Coach purse and I YouTubed how to clean purses and did that whole thing. And that coach purse sold for $75.
Very good.
So that was kind of cool. And it looked really good when I got done with it. I was really proud of the, cleanliness. Now I know some people don't want to clean anything. They just want quick in, quick out. That was kind of cool. I learned something.
I'm a rescuer too. I like to rescue something and make it look better and put it back out in the world instead of it going into the landfill. Some things they're too far gone to rescue, but it's some kind of like the fulfillment of knowing that you I used to rescue animals. So then I switched to physical inanimate objects because you don't have to feed them, you don't have to take care of them, you don't have to watch them grow and die and all that. And I would have 4 animals at a time and 2 kids and being a single mom. And it's something in your genetics that you like to rescue things.
Oh yeah, I think I do. I have we live in a couple acres in the woods, so I have a barn cat. We have like about 20 barn cats.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I just say they're all welcome. Come on in. It's fine. And probably that relates back to why I like to pick up items and try to get them to look all good.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the clothing I will, if it's really wrinkly, I'll take an iron to it and, try to make it look presentable. If I spent $5 ironing it and I could get $10 more for it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it looks better in the pictures.
Yeah. And speaking of ironing, I got into doll clothing, like not Barbies, but like baby dolls. That it could be for a real baby, but I bought a lot of doll clothing. I got like 40 pieces for $1. And I'm like, that's a thing, and there were some dresses in there. They're called heirloom batiste dresses. They're just like white with lace or off white with lace. Those sell for about $40 a piece.
Really?
So I was like, when I saw that, I'm like, well, I'm ironing this. I'm making this look as nice as I can.
Right.
I don't mind doing that. When I started, I did golf shirts, and my kids just have memories of when they hear that ironing board come out. They knew I'd be there for an hour ironing golf shirts before I took pictures of.
And that was prior the day. Now they're all performance wear where, even you wash them.
Back then they were combed cotton and you needed to iron them.
Oh, Pima cotton and
yeah. Now they're all that mercerized or performance wear that you just hang them up and they're all silky and the wrinkles just fall out.
And they look great. Yeah, I don't grab too many polo shirts because I sell them for my other business. But I did find a Tiger Woods Nike polo, and they don't make those anymore. And they'll have the little TW on them.
Okay.
On the back. And that sold for $35. And I paid $4.99 at the Goodwill.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was a good pickup.
That's the perfect flip. That's a good profit margin item that's pretty easy to ship. It's not like a set of dishes. And I think people just don't factor in their times sometimes on the shipping side of things because it's still time. And I always thought of shipping as this is not an income generating activity. Looking for merchandise, yes. Listing it, yes. But yeah, and then you have their money, and then the shipping is just kind of your time.
And I find that shipping out the apparel is a lot easier than the glassware and stuff. When you have a weekend and you sell 15 barware sets or and pottery and stuff, they're going through a lot of bubble wrap and it's expensive. I mean, I've been hitting up all my friends. My sister has a crew of girls that give me all their Amazon boxes and all that, which work out great. But sometimes if it's an expensive item, you want to use a new box. You make sure you have the right bubble wrap. So selling the clothing, selling jewelry, which is smaller, selling little items have really made me a lot happier in the shipping department. Sometimes I'd be there 2 to 3 hours. Then I'm tired. I need a nap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your name is Napoli, so.
That is true.
You know, there is a Italian restaurant not even a mile from me called Napoli.
Really?
Every
Is it
time
good?
I drive by, I think of you. Yeah. So going
Oh,
back to jewelry, do you have a memorable jewelry sale that was either high
I
dollar or just
do.
usual?
I do. So I went to I got a call about 2 years ago. So this after we talked, a friend flips houses and he's like, I'm in the middle of a hoarder house situation, Dena. Can you come and clean this house for me? And you could take all the stuff that you want. I'm like, okay. So we drive over there. I convinced my friend Angie. I'm like, you're coming with me. And so it was in historic Elgin, Illinois, which I'm like, oh, this might be good. It's an older house. It was packed to the rim, but the woman had 10 cats inside her house.
10 cats. Ooh.
Right. They were not there anymore, but 10 cats. So that was awesome. But she had some jewelry, and I found this Roger Jean Pierre, like pink rhinestone and silver brooch, and it looked like a pyramid. And it had like pink baguettes and silver, and it had the earrings with it. It was exquisite, beautiful. And I listed it on eBay, and it sold overseas for $550.
Really? And what was the hallmark?
The hallmark just said Depose. I had to go track back who made Depose jewelry, and it was a Roger Jean Perry. So I had
Okay.
to do a little research to figure that out. But that's okay. I learned something new. So
Right.
now if I see that, take a look, or if it's cheap enough, just buy it.
Right.
So that was a great sale. That was good.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah. And then I also sold at the same sale, I found this really big brooch, and it was all rhinestones, and it had rhinestone and glass like fingernails. It was big, and it was like maybe 4 inches. Like, this is really gaudy, but I'll look it up. And I couldn't find anything, and I found finally that it was made by a company called Butler and Wilson in the 1980s. And they made Art Deco over the top jewelry. And they're highly sought after. I did not know this. So I listed that, and that sold in a week for $400. And that went overseas as well. Like most of my jewelry goes overseas.
Really? Okay. Well, and I wonder if those big gaudy brooches, costume jewelry was to go with the big 80s hair.
Probably. I think I can still pull that off, though. I should.
Everything was big in the 80s. You know, the boom boxes were big and cars were big. And so, that was just an 80s trend. It was really big.
Yeah, and if you see anything that's big and gaudy and looks 80s stylish, Art Deco 80, look it up. Some of these brooches can go for thousands and thousands of dollars. I also found in that hoarder house a woman's Elgin pocket watch.
Okay.
From 1908, and it had a very 7 jewels. Like, you have to know the type of it. You have to open up look at the rewind and all that stuff with those watches. But it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. The dial was exquisite on it. So I listed it for $950, and someone paid $900 for it.
Oh my gosh.
It came back because the person said that I was 1 ounce off on my weight, because it did have 18 karat gold in it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, I was really pissed, but I'm thinking, like, I don't want this watch to go to someone that only cares about the value of the gold in it, because they're probably going to melt it, right?
Yeah.
So it came back, and I listed it again. Someone offered me $650. I took the offer, and he added it to his collection, and then he sent me pictures of it with the other watches that he had. So I'm very happy with that. because it's out there to be enjoyed again. He's enjoying it.
Yeah. I know once you sell something, you have no control over what happens to it, but it does make you feel better if it's going to a collector or, oh, my mom had this and I, want to remember her by looking at it and the nostalgia, all of that, rather than just somebody who's going to take it up to the We Buy Gold store.
Right. Or they're just going to melt it for the gold, which is, I know gold's up now, but like it was such a beautiful piece. You're never going to get that piece back. So I'm glad I went to a collector. And, I sell a lot. I mean, sold a lot of Juliana jewelry, brooches, necklaces between $35 and $100. A lot of crown trifari jewelry for, that's the one that has the crown over the teeth. So that was maybe like the 40s and 60s. Those have sold anywhere between 20 and I sold the necklace and earring and set for like $120, which was nice. I've sold some Lisner. I sold some like complete sets of maybe some Monets. Not as expensive, but if you have the brooch, the earring, and the necklace, you could get a pretty penny for that. What do they call that? They call that the demur. What was it, purvey or something like that? If it's the set, there's like some fancy.
I can look that up and put it in at the end.
Yeah, there's some fancy French word for that. If you have the whole set. So I still like jewelry. If I see it, I buy it. Purses. Oh, I sold a couple of weeks ago. I went to a garage sale, and this woman didn't have too much, but I saw this beautiful Brighton purse, and so I've just started learning about Brighton purses. I bought one at the Goodwill, and I noticed when I got home it was missing its charms and the little the key charms and stuff that people like with the little heart. So I sold that for like $25. I paid $7.99. So I got my money back and some, which was fine. But this one was a beautiful edition. And there was none online. It was from last winter's collection. So I listed it for $190 and it sold for best offer of $150 within a week. Other than that, a fun sale that I had through my garage sale experience, a neighborhood garage sale was happening, and then I went over to it, and this guy had all these Christmas decorations, and he had one of these Gemmy inflatable guys.
Yes,
Put in your yard and stuff, and I'm like, it still had the box. He goes, it still runs. It's just my kids are older now. We don't put them up. I'm like, okay, how much do you want for him? He goes, $5. And I'm like, oh, okay. Even if it doesn't work, I know I could probably sell it for parts for $30 or $40. It's fine. So I bring it home, and I waited a little bit to list it because a little closer to Halloween because I got it in June. So I wanted to wait until like beginning of September. So me and my dad set it up outside and we made sure it worked, and we took a video of it working so I could put it in my eBay listing so they could see it popping out of. It was like a skeleton. Skeleton popping out of a treasure chest. Okay. So I saw them popping out, down. It was cool. And I listed it for $150 and it sold for $125.
Nice. And you paid $5.
That was great. Now, what broke my heart is I asked the guy if he had any more after I bought that one. And he goes, I just had 15 more. Someone picked them all up.
Oh, that hurt.
That's what I get for being late and going to Starbucks and getting my little coffee.
Now, let's just say that maybe all those were broken.
I hope so. So, this year, I just been trying to focus on things that sell well, that sell for over $15. I've been I sell on multiple platforms too. I find that helps me. So if you have the time and the energy to do that, maybe explore. eBay, it was slow the last couple of months. I don't know. How about for you? Well, I know that you again. But
yeah, it was very slow in July. Yeah.
I had a couple days that I didn't have sales. I was ready to cry.
I know. You keep thinking, is my email broken?
Right.
You text your friend, hey, send me an email. I think my email's broken.
Right. Or I look at my husband, go on my eBay store. Is my eBay store up? Is it up?
Yeah. Are you
Can't
seeing it?
see
Is it still
anything.
out there? Yeah.
So, I've been just grabbing stuff that will make me money and trying to learn new things along the way. I'm always searching on eBay to see what are fast sell through rates, what's fast sellers. I there's a lot of stuff I love, but I can't pick it up anymore because I'm gonna end up with a house full of stuff.
Well, you already got those pods full of stuff.
Tell anyone.
What's that?
Don't tell anyone.
Oh no, I was going to ask, are you just putting that aside because it's like glassware and it's not selling?
No,
Or
it's a lot of it's holiday decorations. So I had to go. I know my husband just reminded me last week is we have to go into the pack rats and get the Christmas decorations so we can list them. And I'm like, okay. Um, there is a lot of furniture. So what I am going to take the furniture to the antique store and put that out there, which we'll get rid of that. I as a family we came together and everyone kind of grabbed what they wanted. Finally, I said, "This is the last chance. Whatever you guys don't want, it has to be sold at the antique store." So we're going to do that, and then we did throw out a lot of stuff that that I liked, but it's just not going to sell. You know what I mean? So that was kind of sad, but we'll get through it. I still do have my garage is filled with her stuff too. My basement's filled with her stuff. I have all her depression glass at my house. She was a big depression glass collector. And that doesn't really sell right now, exception of green with uranium in them. So anything with the uranium that glows when you put a black light on there will sell. I've been, selling a lot of that. And I did hear that pink was making a comeback. And I sold a couple of pink depression glass items. So, hopefully that will come back soon. I would like to get some of that in other people's hands. But I don't want to give it away because that was her pride and joy.
well, and it's harder when it's a relative. You have the grief aspect to deal with. It's a slow process when it's, your mom and all this stuff that was special to her. It's not like buying somebody's storage unit with all this stuff that has no meaning to you.
Hey, Suzanne, have you ever bought a storage unit?
I have not. Have
I
you?
always wanted to.
What's that?
I always wanted to. Like I always watch those YouTubers and I'm like, I want to try it. My husband's like, 80% of it's just junk in there. Like, yeah, but it's to find the treasure of that 20%.
I know, but if there may be a dresser in there with some secret drawer with a whole bunch of money in it, you hear about all that,
Yeah.
or some vase that was on the news recently. Somebody found a vase at Goodwill for $3 and it sold for like 500,000, something ridiculous. It happens. And I think that's what keeps us going is you don't know. But
Well,
the
wait
storage unit, there's a lot of logistics to the storage unit because you have to vehicle transport the stuff out of there. You have to have it cleaned out, usually within 48 hours. You have to have a place to put it once you take it out of there. And then, you have to deal with it and sort through it and get rid of the junk. And I just wasn't up for that as one person. You kind of need a team of people to make that happen. Like have a trailer or a big truck or something, because whether you want it or not, you have to take it. So there could be some giant, piece of furniture that's really heavy. You got to get it out of there.
Yeah, if you don't, then you get charged a fee. I think
Right. Yeah.
lose your $100 clean out deposit, which some people do. Like if there's something really special that they want in that storage unit, they will forego that $100 cleaning fee.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just grab what they want and they'll leave.
Yeah, that's true. You could do that.
At the storage facility where I have all those pack rats, sometimes they do auctions on units that are not paid. And we watched one time where they did a storage auction going, and people came like 5 minutes afterwards. After it went, one went for $5,000, and he grabbed exactly what he wanted in it and left everything out. 10 minutes later, another guy comes, grabs what he wants out of the storage unit, leaves. I'm like, what's in these things that people are, what did they grab? What did they see from the terrible pictures that were so valuable? So, yeah, they just leave it.
As a rule follower, I never would have thought, oh, just pay the fee and leave what you don't want. See, I wouldn't have thought of that.
I wouldn't have thought about that either.
I would have been like, oh, I committed to do this. I'm going to follow through and clean it out.
No, then the employees of the storage facility can go through it and grab whatever they want.
Right.
Because it's theirs now. Or
well,
I'll jump in there.
Maybe one day you can have that experience, but I don't think you need any more stuff right now.
I don't need any more stuff. I don't need any more stuff. I don't need any more stuff. But
can you believe we've been talking for an hour?
No.
Yes, I told you it would go by fast. Well, you knew that already. Do you have any final words for the listeners? Because you've gotten into some new things. You've pivoted and gotten into some new things. And I like that because you just keep figuring it out.
I think that if I always tell people, pick up what you like, especially in the beginning. But if you really want to make some serious money, you have to figure out what sells. And so it's great to have, you could go to the Goodwill or you go to a estate sale or garage sale, find all this stuff. But if you waste all your time and listen and it doesn't sell, you didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes that's okay, but then you can end up with storage containers, some things that don't sell. I tell that even like at the antique store, sometimes they'll call me and say, can you go through someone's booth and look at their pricing and see what they have, because they haven't made any sales this month. So I'll go in there and it's priced way too high, or they just have stuff that people don't want. And it's hard to tell someone that because they picked what they liked or they put what they had, but it's still a business. If you want to make money, you have to treat it as a business. So you have to figure out what sells, in my personal opinion, less than 90 days. And, you got to keep out looking too. You can't get discouraged too. I know there's a lot of people you see online saying, my sales stink, or is eBay dead, or, and that can get you down if you keep reading these all the time on Facebook. But you gotta stay in there. You have to do your thing and it will all pick up. If you do the work, you'll get the benefits from it.
Well, and eBay's like a machine. You put your listings in and money comes out the other end, but you got to figure out the right listings to put in.
It's so true. And it's true. And it's just, you got to figure out what works for you. And I always tell everyone, be buying that item for $3.99 at a thrift store and I can flip for $10. That doesn't work for me. I could buy it at $3.99 and sell it for $30 or $20. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I went to sometimes I pick up jeans and I'll pay $12 for a pair of jeans, but if I could flip them for $60 or $70, I'm okay paying $12 for a pair of jeans.
Right. Yeah.
So there's always a risk tolerance into whatever you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always go back to, can I sell it for what I paid for it plus 20% to cover the fees?
It's true.
So anyway, well, what is on your agenda today?
Oh, the other job, and I might have picked up about 14 pairs of jeans yesterday. So
Might have.
Right. I have to list those. I've been trying to be really good about bringing it in and get it listed. It can't go into a death pile, because if it goes in a death pile, it's going back to the Goodwill.
Right.
Because that means I don't want to list it. So, that's my job today. I'm going to stay. It's been so dang hot up here in Illinois, like 85, 90 degrees. I'm waiting for fall to come. It's too hot to go outside. What are you doing today?
I am going to be listing. I have a big bucket of jewelry A lot of people
Ooh,
sent me jewelry to help me build up my inventory. And so it's a lot. I've been working through it a little bit every day, sorting it, like, can this sell on its own? Should I put this in a lot? Is this just going to go to Goodwill? So I'm doing that and working on my listings.
that's good. Jewelry's fun. Jewelry's
Yeah.
fun. And if you doubt of it, still list it. There's some things that I thought was questionable, had a Japan kind of label on it. I still listed it, and it sold for like $25. So
Mhm.
list it, list it, list it.
Yeah,
So
I will. Okay. Well, thanks again for coming on, and keep up the great work. We'll be looking for you on the Facebook group.
thanks, Suzanne. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Very informative. Thank you, Dena, for sharing your time with us. And today I'm going to end with a cleaning hack. And this is something I kind of figured out on my own and it worked. So I had bought some books to sell that had kind of a musty smell. I just wasn't comfortable selling them smelling that way. So I had heard of the cat litter trick where you put some cat litter in a Ziploc bag and then you put the book in there and put it in the freezer, and supposedly the cat litter absorbs the odors. But I thought, cat litter's kind of messy to work with. So what I did was the inspiration came to me when I was in a Walmart and I was in the like the area where the Ace bandages are, and they have the odor eater inserts for your shoes. And I thought, oh, I wonder if I could take some of those because they have charcoal in them and do that cat litter process, except use these odor eaters. So I did, and they're like $4 a pack for the store brand, but the key is it has charcoal in it. And you could use real charcoal, but again, that's kind of messy. You don't want to get that on your item that you're trying to get the smell out of. So anyway, I did buy those in the largest size, and then I cut them down into halves or thirds, and then put a couple of those in a Ziploc bag with that book and left it in the freezer for about 3 days, and it worked. Those odor eaters just sucked that odor right out of that book. So I'm sure this can be used on other items as well if you have an odor problem. I do not suggest selling anything with mothball odor. You're just not going to get that out. Or if it's, like really bad body odor, stuff like that, that's just gross. But if you're just trying to freshen up a musty smell, maybe it's been in somebody's basement or in a storage unit or something, give that a try. See if that works for you, because I thought, oh, I feel like such a genius. I figured that out, and it's not messy and it's inexpensive and it works. So that is your cleaning hack. Okay, next week my guest is Jeremy. He is a frequent poster on the sales threads in the Facebook group. So we're going to learn all about what he knows. So make sure to tune in for that episode. And thank you for supporting this podcast and coming back week after week to tune in with us. I will talk to you next week. Bye for now.